Class, this is a short demo on how to do a three-dimensional box. This is a carton. This is the end of the redesign project. So I want to show you how to do a final 3D rendering with a little bit of a drop shadow. This is basically what you're seeing now. What you're seeing now is basically what I'd like you to do. Okay, so this would be your final piece. All right, so let's start. Let's just go through it really quickly in Adobe Illustrator, and then we'll finish in Photoshop. So let me open Illustrator, and let me, I'm going to do my workspace, so that will be letter, okay, and that's probably good enough for me to work with. So let's start with let's just do colors here. The front panel, let's make the front panel, let's just do green. I'm going to click on here, and we are in points, which didn't really want to be, but it's okay. I'm going to do 600 by 600 points. Do inches, it's easier to work with. Okay, there it is, and that actually is a little bit too big, so let's make it smaller. There we go. And I am going to fill this with green. This is going to be the front of my box. Okay. I want to do a side panel and a top panel. Okay. So I'm just going to hold down my Option key. I am duplicating this so it's exactly the same height. There's my side. I'm duplicating this here so that it's exactly the same width. Okay, this has to fit on here, obviously, if it's a box, perfectly, and this has to fit on the side perfectly too. Okay, so this is done. Let's say I have my design here. All right, I'm going to open up Photoshop. All right, and I'm going to do Command N for new. Okay, I'm going to do inches this time, which I should have done last time. Okay, I have a better feel. Pixels are for web. This is, let's work with inches. It's easier. So for the width, I'm going to do, probably 7 inches, and the height, it's fairly square, so I'm going to do 7 too. Make your resolution 150. For web, which we will, putting this on Behance 72 is fine, but just in case, I want it crisp. I don't want it any jaggies. Color here is RGB. All right. Background, this is all right. Okay. Let's do okay. All right. Now, first panel. Click this. If you got a lot of stuff on here, make sure it's grouped. Command C. Command V. Pixels. Do pixels. There we go. Okay, we are going to do this in 2-point perspective. Rather than getting very complicated with the perspective, I'm going to just tell you a few tricks on what to look for. All right, so this is placed. All right, that looks good. I know I'm going to put a top on here and a side on here, so I'm going to move this over a little bit. All right, and a little bit down. There we go. Okay. I'm going to put this slightly in perspective. So you go to Edit, Transform, Distort. All right. Click on that. Hold your Shift key and pull up a little. Click on the bottom one, hold the Shift key. Lift that one up a little bit. Okay. Deselect. Let's get another panel. This is Illustrator. Illustrator to Photoshop. Click. Command C. Let's go to Photoshop. Command V. Pixels. Okay. Let's move this over here. It's got a touch. All right. Edit. Transform. Oh, we want to distort. Let's go up here to this. Use your mover tool. Edit, transform, distort. Okay, I'm going to hold the shift key and pull up. Click down here. I'm going to use the shift key. Now, this line and this line need to be parallel. This one and this one do not. Okay, it's 2-point perspective, so you can actually, I'm going to hold the shift key again, lift this up just a little bit more. It's a little bit more distorted than this. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to click here now and pull it in. Whoa, excuse me. I think I went out of distort. Let's go distort. There we go. Again, make this look good. If you want to do proper 2-point perspective, you'd have to draw some pretty complicated lines. I think just make it look good. All right? Okay. Mover tool. Here we go. Command C. Command V. Pixels. All right. This has to go right up here. Let's go up to distort. Transform, distort. And click on this and pull it up. It's got to match that. Okay. And let's bring this all down a little bit so we can see what we're doing. Good enough. Edit, transform, distort. Click on that and bring it down. Has to touch that peak. Be very careful with this. Do it slowly. Okay, and then this. Let's bring this back up. Let's move this over here. Let's move this a little bit more over there. Let's see what this looks like. It's a little off, so let's move it a little bit more. There we go. It's a little bit off. We'll fix this. So we got that, we got this, and we have this. Okay? So now we're going to put a little bit of some dimension on here so that it doesn't just blend in. So let's click on this and go up to our toolbox over here. Let's do the burn tool. Let's go up to exposure about 24-25%. And let's lock all the layers but the top layer. So let's lock this layer. Get that in the. Let's lock this layer and let's lock this layer. We're going to leave the top layer unlocked. Okay, so see that? Just a little bit. Give it a little bit. Like I said, we'll fix that. Next one, let's do this along this edge. Okay, so let's lock that and let's unlock the side panel. Okay, make sure you select that layer. Photoshop is all about layers. Make sure you're on the right layer and the right tool. There. Whoa. That doesn't look good. Command Z, undo. There we go. That looks good. Okay. Now, let's go to this one. We're going to make a drop shadow. So let's go to your pen tool. It's right here. The pen tool is different than in Illustrator. You have to make sure up here that it's shape and not path. Has to be shape, and I want to fill and I don't want to stroke. I want to fill no stroke. So let's do it. I want my shadow to start here and end about here. And like this, and like this. I'm kind of faking what it would look like if it was behind it. Let's fix, here's our direct selection tool. Let's click there and pull this up a little. Okay. Now right now let's do opacity. It's a little bit too dark. Let's do about 60%. Okay. And what I'm going to do now is go up to filter, distort. Where's Gaussian blur? I'm sorry, blur. Gaussian blur. You must rasterize. Yes, rasterize. Click rasterize. Otherwise, nothing will happen. Now, this is your Gaussian blur slider. So don't do it too much. Don't do it too little. You don't want a hard edge, but you don't want it too soft. I think that's about perfect. Okay? Okay, now the last thing we do, we want to put this in the back. This is our shadow. I'm going to unlock all of these. I'm going to unlock all. So here's my shadow. Let's put it right there. That's how you make it go back. Again, with Photoshop, you work more with layers than with some of the other software. Okay. This, now I'm going to do is just flatten everything, flatten image. Okay. Unlock. I'm just going to clean this up. Here's a little bit of an eraser tool. The brackets are big and small, so I'm going to go very small. Clean that up just a little bit. Flatten again. There you go. Got rid of that. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to probably fuzz this up a little bit. Let's try the Gaussian blur. Deselect, Command D. No, that's not good. Let's do something even a little bit less for Gaussian blur. Let's just do it very little. I just want to blur out that white line. Okay. Deselect, Command D. Okay, I could, as I would work with this, I would probably fix it a little bit, but right now it's good enough. Let's save this now. So if for Behance, it needs to be a JPEG. Okay, so we have JPEG. We're going to do green box 3D. Okay, and then just send it to the desktop or wherever you want to save it. And that's it.